Good morning, everybody. Is everybody all right today? Yeah? What a gorgeous day. I got up early this morning and had the blessing of watching the sun rise. In church, he has risen. Yeah. You know, I know that this is a special day. I know that. And it is true that 2,000 years ago, right around this time of year, there was an empty tomb. The beautiful thing, though, is that every first day of the week from that moment on has been a special day. And he's called us to commemorate that with this amazing opportunity to gather together, to worship together, to commune together, to love on one another, to sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs, to worship him in spirit and truth. The first day of the week, he calls us together, and here we are. Today's a special day. What's extra cool is that every day is a special day because the tomb is empty and the sun has risen. And every day should be a day to honor and worship him. And so we welcome those of you who are visiting us this morning. Welcome to our family reunion. We have this amazing family here at the Waterford Church of Christ, and we're blessed to have you to be a part of us. And as said often from the pulpit, we share in this family. And so if there is anything that you have in your life that you're in need of, questions that you may have, please don't miss the moment this morning. We're here to share. I've been here a little over 5 years. And I don't know, maybe you remember 5 years ago there was this thing called the pandemic. I'm not sure if you remember that or not. And when my wife and I started serving here, that's exactly what we walked right into. The first Sunday that we were here was starting at the peak, and then from that moment on, man, the pandemic hit in full. And many of you remember, we had this youth minister that was here at that time. He'd been here for 8 years, Daniel Smith. I had the blessing and the honor of spending quite a bit of time with him because of that pandemic time. Got a chance to spend time with him recording things, learning new things, but we also had some time to just be us, just kind of hang out and get to know one another. So he tried to teach me how to play guitar. Would you hear my wife? Yeah. Clearly that didn't go well. He also taught me a game that he and Kerry Williams really enjoyed playing, MTG. And it's a game where you have these different strategies. You can have these different approaches toward the game, where you gather your cards together. And one of the approaches is called aggro or aggressive. That's where you try to really go at your opponent very quick, very hard, and try to overwhelm them very quickly. Then there's this strategy that you try to really go big and go wide. You try to create these really big beasts that just overpower your opponent. My least favorite type of person to play against is the one who likes to play the cards that control. I mean, really, who here likes to be controlled? You see, that's the whole idea of that strategy, is that they like to take control of your stuff. That they have cards that actually they can play, and then they reach into your hand and take your stuff from you. Or when you play a card, they have a card that says, nope, I'm going to remove that. You can't play that. It gets pretty frustrating pretty quickly when you try to play something and then all that you get in response is somebody trying to remove what you're trying to do, trying to control what you're doing. Now let's just turn that around just for a second. I'll ask the question again. Do you like it when somebody tries to reach into your life and control you? How about when things are removed from you? I mean, that really, I think, can hit home. Like a car. The car goes in the shop and it's removed from you, and it's an inconvenience, but we don't like it. We don't like having the things that we can rely on to be there for us, to be removed from us. And although we'll overcome it with a rental car or getting rides, it's still a drag. But what about if you woke up tomorrow morning and you went to your job and you walked right in and started settling in, and then the boss comes and says, oh, by the way, we've removed your job. We don't need you anymore. How would that affect you? Now, please do the best you can to allow yourself to go there just for a moment, to start getting that thought process, that emotion, and how it would shock you. Like your whole world now starts to be turned upside down because most everything revolves around your ability to go to work and then receive an income, and then with your family and the support and the things that you have, the house that you have, the vehicles that you have. I mean, man, that job's really key, and it would shock you to wake up one morning and have that removed. How about leaving that office after having that hit you right in the face, and they're like, man, I need to just go to the bank. I got my last paycheck. I'm going to go deposit that, and I'm just going to see what I can do. I'm sure that there's another job out there that I can have. I hope there is one. You go to the bank, and you get to the teller, and they say, oh, I'm sorry, your account's been closed out. You don't have any money. It's been removed. How would you do then? I mean, what would you do then? To have the things that I know that you rely on be removed from you. What could be removed from your life that if that were to be the case, it would be game over? You just wouldn't have anything else to do and go find an answer for it. You see, in the game, there is a time and place when you play that one key piece. And if it's removed, you know that it's game over. And I'm sure that there is a key piece in your life. If it were removed, it's game over. So this morning, what I'd like to do is I'd like to see an example of somebody's life when that took place. Whatever your answer is within your own life, Tad, if this were removed from me, man, that'd be it. Let's see what that answer was for this person. Please open your Bibles to the book of Luke, chapter 8. Luke, chapter 8, we're going to be introduced or reintroduced to a woman by the name of Mary. Mary Magdala, or Mary Magdalene, as many of us know her to be. Her second name just refers to the place that she originates from. It's like Jesus of Nazareth. She is Mary of Magdala, or Mary Magdalene. And we're introduced to her, and she's in pretty rough shape when we're introduced to her in Luke chapter 8. Let's pick it up in verse 1. And it came about soon afterwards that he, Jesus, began going about from one city and village to another, proclaiming and preaching the kingdom of God. And the 12 were with him, and also some women who had been healed of evil spirits and sicknesses. Mary, who was called Magdalene, from whom 7 demons had gone out. So now we're introduced to this woman by the name of Mary, and we see that when she met Jesus, she was in really rough shape. Now, we don't have time, nor do I have the mental capacity to fully embrace and understand what this demon stuff and possession is all about. It's a really big subject. But I do know that the demons 2,000 years ago that were allowed to affect people's lives were extremely powerful, and they did horrifying things to people. Now, to try to bring it up to modern day ideas and truths, there are still evil spirits out there, church. That Satan still has. Remember, we're fighting against not flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces. And so we need to remember that the things that were attacking the women back then, the entities, the powers, the spirits, Satan himself and all of his minions, they're still out there. And their influence is powerful in this world, and I know for sure that every single one of us, somewhere along the line, we have been influenced by evil, spiritual beasts So much so that we have then allowed them to control certain aspects of our life. We've allowed them to control a certain decision that we've made or a thought that we've had. It's called leading us into sin. And so just to be sure that we understand that although the spiritual forces and the demons that we're going to be talking about this morning in Luke chapter 8, don't think for a moment that the powers of darkness aren't still in existence today, because they are. And don't think for a moment that they haven't, by our allowing, been a part of controlling us. And I know that we can look at the world around us and see very clearly, the impact of darkness and spiritual forces that have transformed so many different societies into things that you just go, oh man, that's so ugly. So now let's pick it back up then with Mary. There she is, and she has 7 demons, 7 of them. Can you imagine? We've got examples of what demons can do to people, like in 1 Samuel chapter 16, starting in verse 14, Saul, the first king of Israel, he struggled with having these powers of demonic things come to him, and it gripped him with fear and paranoia. We've got in Mark chapter 9, verses 17 through 29, there was this demon who caused somebody to be deaf and mute. In Mark chapter 5, verses 1 through 5, the demoniac that we know of, that he was in the graveyards, he was amongst the tombs, and he was stripped down, and he was hyper strong. He could break chains, and he was just overwhelmed by the demons, then just leading him to these places, so much so that he'd take sharp rocks and cut himself. It was a horrible life. These demons taking control and taking over and leading these people to be just such a mess. And now we find Mary with 7 of them. Could you imagine 7 demons inside of you, all trying to figure out what they can do nasty to you next? And just how messed up Mary's life was, to be completely out of control, out of her mind, nothing to do but just be at the will of whatever the demon wanted to do to her next. And then she meets Jesus. Mary, who was called Magdalene, from whom 7 demons had gone out. And they went out because of Jesus. You see, that's what happens, church, when Jesus gets to be in control. He can take those darkness things, those evil spirits. He can take the oppression and the guilt and the shame and get into somebody's life and actually remove the things that have been hindering people from moving forward in their life. You see, Jesus has that power. He has power over the evil spirits if you let him, be in control. And so that's what happens to Mary. Mary now has been set free, and she's been cleansed, and she's now of her right mind, and she's following Jesus. I mean, who wouldn't? Because she wants Jesus to be the one who's in control of her life, because of what Jesus could remove and continues to remove from her life. She has nothing but life itself because of Christ. And because of that, her dedication to the one is absolute. She follows him wherever he goes. She is all in following the Messiah. Let me just stop for a moment and ask, who is it that you said, if it were removed from your life would be game over? I'm really hoping that most of you thought Jesus. Because we're going to find out this emotional roller coaster that this woman is on when Jesus is the center of your life and he is the one in control, and you know he's the one that's removed the guilt and the shame and the sin and the pain, and he's opened up everlasting life for you. When you know that's him, then the dedication to him is, Lord, I will follow you wherever you go. I'll do whatever you call me to do. You are the center of my life. I only have life because you've removed those things from me, and you're in control of my life. And Lord, I have life itself because of you. Now, what happens if he's removed? Well, we can find out with Mary. You see, as she goes along in life, if we go now forward to the book of John, chapter 19, we'll pick the story back up again of her. She follows Jesus wherever he goes, and we get to John chapter 19. And we'll read verse 25. Therefore the soldiers did these things, but there were standing by the cross of Jesus his mother and his mother's sister, Mary, the wife of Clopas, and Mary Magdalene. Now just imagine, here this woman is, she's set free, follows Jesus, watches him do all these amazing things. Man, you are the Messiah. You're amazing. You are the King of Kings. And now she's led all to this place where she has seen the arrest. She's seen the taking it. She's been there for the beating. She's there and she heard the nails being pounded into the wood. She heard the 7 phrases from Jesus. She's there at the foot of the cross. The blood shed from the Messiah is splashing down on her. She's now covered with the blood of the Lamb as she watches her Savior die. What now? What happens when he's removed from her? What's left in life? And then he dies. And so now we go to Matthew chapter 27, verses 57 through 61. And we don't have time to go there, but just take that note down. And I want you to know that not only was she at the foot of the cross, but she was there when they took the body off of the cross. And she was there when Joseph, Nicodemus, took the body and took care of it and put it into the tomb. She was there all the way to the very end. Now the scene fades to the next day, and what do you think she's going to do now? The very essence of her life has been removed. There's nothing left for her. So what's she going to do the next morning? Now the morning comes and it's Sunday morning, and in verse 1 of chapter 20. Now on the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene came early to the tomb while it was still dark and saw the stone already taken away from the tomb. And so she ran and she came to Simon Peter, to the other disciples whom Jesus loved, and said to them, "They've taken away the Lord out of the tomb. We don't know where they have laid him." Peter therefore went forth, and the other disciple, and they were going to the tomb, and the two were running together, and the other disciple ran ahead faster than Peter. And he came to the tomb first, and stooping and looking in, he saw the linen wrappings lying there, but he didn't go in. Simon Peter therefore also came, following him, and entered the tomb, and he beheld that the linen wrappings were lying there, and the face cloth which had been on his face, or on his head, not lying with the linen wrappings, but rolled up in a place by itself. So the other disciple whom had first come to the tomb entered then also and saw, and he believed. Now he believed what? He didn't believe that Jesus was raised from the dead. He believed what Mary was saying, that the body now of Jesus is gone. For they didn't understand, verse 9 says, the scriptures, that he must rise again from the dead. So the disciples went away again to their own homes. But Mary was standing outside the tomb weeping. And so as she wept, she stooped and looked into the tomb. That word weeping has such a powerful connotation to it. It's that time where you're sobbing uncontrollably, and she's just shaking and sobbing. And the word standing there gives this idea of frozen in place. She can't move. She's just absolutely broken to the place of a complete emotional, mental, spiritual breakdown. I mean, she's there because it's the only place she could go. Where else is she going to go? Even though Jesus is dead, at least I can be close to his body. She shows up to the tomb, and the tomb is open and empty. What now? What else could they do to me? What else could life do to me? Now he's been completely removed. I mean, at least there's something I could have done to at least be in his presence, although dead, and now there's nothing left for me in life. Church, I'm telling you right now, it is a fact that without Jesus in your life, there is no life at all. And I would hope that we have some sense of a relationship with Jesus like Mary did with him. That we rely so much on him, that the very thought and the essence of him being removed at all would break us to the very core, which would move us to do all we could to follow him wherever he went, to surrender to him, whatever he said, because Lord, I never want to lose connection with you. I pray that that's you. And so as she stands frozen and broken, her life's about to change again. Verse 12. She beheld two angels in white sitting, one at the head and one at the feet, where the body of Jesus had been laying. And they said to her, "Woman, why are you weeping?" And she said to them, "Because they have taken away my Lord, and I don't know where they've laid him." When she had said this, she turned around and beheld Jesus standing there and did not know that it was Jesus. And just keep in mind that when you read further in this chapter, when Thomas is there, Jesus says, "Go ahead, Thomas, touch where they pierced me, touch where they pierced me. Go ahead and put your finger where they pierced my skin." Jesus is still bearing the marks of the crucifixion. He does not look like he did before the cross. His face, his body has changed because of what they did to him. And so she doesn't recognize him. And then Jesus speaks. Jesus says to her, "Woman, why are you weeping? Whom are you seeking?" Supposing him to be the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have carried him away, tell me where you have laid him, and I will take him away." I don't know how she's going to do it. How is she going to be able to carry the body of Jesus? But she wants to be with him anyway. And then Jesus says to her, "Mary." She turned and said to him, "Rabboni." There's something about the voice of Jesus. When Jesus calls his sheep, what do? They recognize his voice. And there's something at that moment, something about that moment, that tone that just awakened her soul and awakened her like, oh, it's him. It's him. And so she rushes and throws herself at him. And he says, "Wait a second, woman. We got work left to do. It's not time to just stay here. We've got to show the rest of the world that I am alive." And alive he is. And church, that's where we bring this all full circle. The beauty of the idea of who is in control of your life, you get to choose that. But when it is Jesus and we give ourselves to him, he removes everything from us that's dark and evil and wrong and painful, and he lifts them up. He has to the cross, and he set us free with the blood that he shed on that cross. And I love the idea that he is the greatest of removers. And I hope that he is yours. You know, there's a passage in 1 Peter. In 1 Peter, where it says, in chapter 3, verse 21, "Corresponding to that, baptism now saves you, not the removal of dirt from the flesh, but an appeal to God for a good conscience through the resurrection of Jesus Christ." You see, there's a moment that every single person who belongs to Jesus went through, and it wasn't the removal of dirt, it was removal of all those things of your shame. But I got another question for you. Maybe when I asked that first question about, well, if something was removed, what would really be the end game for you? And you didn't think of Jesus. So I have to ask, what is it that needs to be removed from your life so that he can have control? We're not playing around. I mean, the reality is that we are spiritual beings and we're clothed with the flesh, but that will shed someday and we will spend eternity somewhere. And the reality is that only through Christ do we have everlasting life. But we get caught up in this world and we get so reliant on things here in this world and things of the flesh that it hinders us from really allowing Him to have full control over us. So what exactly is it that you might need to remove to have Him be in full control? Now, for those of you who are visiting us today, we don't just do this as a cliche or leading into now the end of the service. We really mean it. We're here to help one another, and we're here to share with one another. And this is not a place where you'll find stones to pick up to throw at one another. This is a place that you can feel safe and transparent and be honest and open about the things you have in your life that are hindering you from truly being all in for Christ, fully dedicated to Him. And it may just be that you need somebody to talk to, somebody to pray, somebody to help you, somebody to work things through, somebody to just have a conversation with to help draw out things that maybe you need to remove in your life. But please, today, on this wonderful day where the stone was rolled away, and Jesus offers to remove all those things that are bad in your life when it comes to sin, spiritual enemies. We're just praying that you have the courage enough to come forward for some help. And maybe you've been studying the scriptures and you're at a place now, Lord, I want you to be in full control of my life. And it begins by being baptized into Him, not to remove the dirt from your flesh, but the stains from your soul. Pray that you do so as we stand and sing the song of invitation.